Right. Well, welcome everybody back to our Monday health chat with Dr. Stacy and myself, Gloria Capola. For those of you that don't know us, combined, we have about 50 years of health experience and showing people ways to improve their health. I am a certified health coach, a naturopathic practitioner, and Dr. Stacy is a PhD in functional medicine. So together, boy, we can rock it out there and give people lots of clues and tips and hints. But if this is your first time in the Science for Health Balance group, I just want to say hello and thank you for coming because somebody really cared about you and put you in here. So today's topic is something that I think most people have to deal with at some point in time, Dr. Stacy. And I know when I was in my 40s, that's a long time ago, I was a workaholic, a single mom raising two kids, and I found myself sometimes so overwhelmed that my body would literally shake all the way through and I couldn't stop it. People used to think, do I have to smack you? Well, no, you probably could hug me and I would feel better. But I also have been talking to a lot of women, Dr. Stacy, that, they're having these emotional types of releases. And some of them are premenopausal and, some are even younger. And we're not going to talk about menopause per se today, but we are going to talk about the effects of cortisol, one of the hormones that begins to increase when we're under stress. And I know for me, the shaking was a big one, Stacy, and the adrenal fatigue was so bad that it actually took me about 3 years to restore and repair my body and my life. Some people I've been talking to have been complaining about headaches, and we don't often associate the headaches with this type of a stress or hormonal issue. So I think that's something we might bring in. And the irritability, oh my God, it's just like, you kind of feel like someone's always poking you. It's like, leave me alone. And crying. I mean, a lot of times women and men, they just break down emotionally and they don't really understand why. Now, each week when we come on, we talk about nutrition and supplements and other things, including the stem cell patches that can help you. So, Stacey, I know when I was going through this and I was trying to find out solutions, of course, diet, we both know is important. I know I had to start taking meditation classes and self-hypnosis to really calm myself down, get out in nature more. And it helped a lot, but there was still things already so far off of balance in my body that it was hard to find the right, let's say, supplement or something until somebody began to introduce me. Like a lot of people say, oh, take magnesium, calm yourself down. Well, that's not always the solution. But for me, what helped was L-theanine. And not a lot of people know what that is, but that was one that really helped bring my whole nervous system into a state of relaxation. So maybe you can touch upon that or some of the herbs like ashwagandha and other things that have helped people out there when they are on stress overload.
Yep. So I will say this on the other end of the spectrum. I've never personally dealt with anxiety. I've never had any of those symptoms or feelings myself of the irritability or the increased heart rate or, the brain fog or moodiness, those types of things. I've honestly never experienced those. And I contribute it to several things. And first off, self-care. So that has always been something that has been very important to me. I've always been really big on exercise and getting out in nature, going for walks or runs or bike rides, whatever. Always made that a priority, whether it be with kids, family, or by myself. And taking time to get on the table, right?
I think it's a massage.
Get a massage, do some Reiki, something. That's always been very, very important. But after everything happened with my daughter back in 2007, after we got out of the hospital, we were in there for a year. That would have or could have been a place where, someone could like literally lose their mind in the situation that I just been through. And I started going to a group, meeting with a small group of people. And these men and women were very wise. They called themselves the Saging Group. And they were into all different types of practices with meditation and breath work and different healing modalities. And one lady, Penny, said to me, she was like 80, 85 years old. She said, honey, you have to come every single Tuesday. Someone can take care of your child. She will be fine, because if you don't take care of yourself, you will never be able to take care of her.
Absolutely.
And that just resonated with me so strongly that I was like, okay, I've always taken care of myself. I've always, take care of other people, but I've always made sure I filled my own cup. And at that point in time, when I had a massive challenge in my life, that was the perfect moment to say, okay, no matter what, I have to take care of me. And a lot of times I think, especially as women, men, we know take care of stuff. They're out there working, right? They're doing the stuff to provide for the family financially a lot of times. And especially, in past years, right? Now, so maybe not so much anymore, but I think that's a big thing for women, is they're so busy taking care of other people that they're not realizing that they're not taking care of themselves, and that they're going to crash and burn. And like you said, 3 years, right, to get your body back on the right track from years of, like you said, running, single mom,
running 3 businesses, having teenagers to figure out, how do I navigate this? It's my first experience, other things in the family, grief, loss, all this stuff compounding. And even though I would get massage and do meditation and even take mini vacations, my mind was not stopping. My body may have occasionally, but my mind was not.
Right. And so when we look at being able to support your mind, right? One thing you said, obviously meditation is very important. I feel especially it is for men. A lot of men don't do it though, but especially for women, to take 15 minutes. And meditation looks different at different ages, right? I mean, I remember that from years ago. When you're in your 30s, meditation may be, 5 minutes in the bathroom by yourself, maybe, if you're lucky, and as you age, it changes, and you can have a little bit more time for that. Or maybe just get up a little earlier, right? Even though you're exhausted, get up a little earlier, and you'll, just anyway, meditation is so, so, so important. If you don't have that practice, yeah, that's definitely something to implement. And you mentioned supplements. There's a lot of different things out there. Food, the L-theanine. So green tea, I don't know that I've had a day that I haven't drank green tea in my life. I absolutely am obsessed with green tea. I always have been. I love it. It's so refreshing. And some people are like, well, it's the caffeine. The caffeine does not increase your cortisol. The L-theanine that you mentioned is more powerful and more potent as far as being able to help you adapt to stress and anxiety. And it actually overrides the effects of caffeine, reducing the cortisol. It actually crosses blood-brain barrier, which is super. If you don't understand blood-brain barrier, like there's not much that crosses the blood-brain barrier for obvious reasons. You have a brain with cerebral spinal fluid, and then you have blood going through your body, and those two don't mix, right? If they do, you're probably in trouble. And so when you have L-theanine, and exclusively almost from green tea, this crosses the blood-brain barrier by helping you be relaxed without feeling drowsy. Okay. And that's super important, but not jacking you up, because it's a teeny tiny little amount of caffeine. So foods are very important. We talk about this all the time. Foods will support your system, right? And I've always been a big proponent of plant-based, some meat in moderation, healthy, clean sources, but getting lots of green leafy vegetables, fruits that are high in vitamin C. And one thing that I want to mention, and I know there's a controversy, so we don't have time to get into this, but soybeans, soy, not GMO, but healthy, clean, organic, non-GMO sources of soy actually have what's called phosphatidylserine. And phosphatidylserine is a nutrient that helps the brain dramatically. And I remember after Taylor got out of the hospital with her brain bleed, she had a massive brain bleed. It's a cortisol blocker. So this child's body went through massive amounts of stress, and we took her out to Amen Clinic, Dr. Daniel Amen, and had her SPECT scan done on her brain. And they're like, she has to be on phosphatidylserine immediately, and you have to give her food. She had a G-tube, so there was only certain things we could get through the G-tube, but you have to give her as much as you possibly can with phosphatidylserine in it to be able to support the brain, because it blocks the cortisol. Her body had been through massive amounts of stress, right? It removes toxins from the body, from the brain, and from the cells. So that is so important. So if you're not a soy eater for whatever reason, because you believe it causes estrogen and blah, 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 and all that stuff, that's fine. Find yourself, go to Dr. Daniel Amen's website and get his phosphatidylserine. It is so powerful for the brain and helping the brain to be able to function correctly in more ways than just anxiety.
Spell his last name so I can put it in here on the live.
Like amen.
Oh, amen. Okay.
Dr. Daniel Amen. He is a massive, 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 massive brain doctor. Like all the athletes, like we were sitting in the waiting room with Terry Bradshaw, waiting to go back to see him to get the SPECT scan. So we're talking massive people. He's out in California, but he does have clinics all over East and West Coast. But his main clinic is out there out in California. And so SPECT scan looks at the brain, not like a CT or an MRI, but actually is in the functionality, the neurotransmitters and the areas of the brain that are functioning correctly. And when you look at, for example, quick side note, you would see the brain in colors, and he would give you a chart that had like maybe 10 brains on it. Your brain on inhalants, your brain on cocaine, your brain on marijuana, your brain on crack, your brain on meth, whatever, all those names, brain on alcohol, your brain on heroin.
Sugar, your brain on sugar.
Yeah, he had those too. But he would show you the different brains and what they look like and what a healthy functioning brain should look like with many different, scans, and then show you your brain, or in our case, our child's brain. So yeah, definitely getting the right nutrients is super important. Essential fatty acids, right? Those omega-3 essential fatty acids are super important. We know we get those from healthy, clean sources of fish, right? Salmon is a good source of that. But a little bit of dark chocolate, onions, garlic, and again, green leafy vegetables. So nutrition wise, absolutely. Self-care, super important. We all have 168 hours in the week. We honestly do. No one gets more than the other. And so you have to prioritize yourself in your calendar, just like you prioritize everyone else. And if you don't, you feel it. And that compound effect of not taking care of yourself, of not getting a good night's sleep, of waking up on the go, rushing around, going from, place to place to place, or doing whatever, and never really accomplishing something, is really going to be very detrimental to your body in many ways. But when you look at hormones and you throw that on top of it, you throw in those side, effects of your hormones changing as you age, you find that a lot of people do crash and burn. And
one of the things, I'm sorry, one of the things I began to realize, self-realization at that time, was the level of codependency I had, which I didn't know how to say no to anything. And so my plate was overloaded. And I remember getting the book Codependent No More by Melody Beattie and checking off almost everything on there, went, holy cow. And the hardest part, Dr. Stacey, in making these realizations and changing your life is other people may not like it. And so then you're dealing with that kind of mini stress on how you deal with that. But that was life-saving for me. And that was part of that journey, is to, learn to pull back, like you're saying, more self-care. Because even though I was doing self-care, I wasn't doing enough. The plate was not even. It was not even. And learning that simple little word, no, was really crucial for me, because that is what began to balance my life.
Yeah, boundaries are so important. And I don't think we're raised with boundaries for the most part, right? Kids there's nothing, like you have to do it. It just doesn't work that way, the way we're raised most times, right? And we also see people in our family that don't have boundaries. And so there's that pattern that happens. And so taking an evaluation of your life and saying, what does my day look like? What are my musts? Right? If you have children, obviously I must take care of them correctly. These are important things, but what can I also delegate out to other people? Or what can I say no to that is not a must, a necessity, unless I've taken care of myself first? And I know Marcy, you know Marcy really well. And when we've been friends now for the last 2 years, and she always says this to me. We do these retreats that we just finished this last weekend with LifeWave. We have these big events. And she said, it's amazing to me how you can get everything done because you're not saying yes to every person. You're saying no, but you're getting the most important things done, which brings everybody together in a more harmonious way. And you're happy about it. She said after the events, you should be exhausted. And you're not. And I'm like, no, I'm not, because I have set those boundaries and I have made these things clear. And these are the things that are must happen. And these are the things that will happen effectively because I'm putting all my energy and effort into them. And the pieces of the puzzle come together because of that structure. So take some time for yourself, where we just came off the new moon on Friday. And so, and of course I'm a Libra, so I am about balance, and if the scales are going to get tipped, I'm going to take care of myself. So then that my scale can tip into somebody else, right? I can pour my cup. But we came off that new moon. So now's the time to think about the new things you want in your life, the new practices, the new habits. And like you said, Gloria, people aren't going to be happy probably with your boundaries. They're not going to be happy that you say no to doing everything that you did before, and it's okay. They will adjust as long as you hold your ground and say, you know what, there some things have got to change. My health's suffering and I have to take care of myself. And I would hope you would respect that and understand that. And if you don't, that's okay. We're just going to have to agree to disagree.
So many health issues that compile, and then eventually you could have massive things happen to you, which we don't want to see. So what else? We've talked about the boundaries, which is a really good one. We have quite a few people watching this morning, so thank you for coming on. If you have a question, please put it down below. I am watching, and I will let Dr. Stacy know. We've talked about the good supplements and stuff, and the foods that you can get them from, and what's important. What else can they utilize, especially in the moment when they're going through the anxiety, they're having their emotional overload, they're just unable to even calm down? Mm-hmm. What else can be done before they make all their changes?
Immediately, you can put a patch on, right? We know we can do that. You talked a little bit about ashwagandha. That's a great supplement for anxiety. Again, green tea, but sometimes that may not be that fast acting. So it just depends. I mean, my son loves ashwagandha just because it's really great for people that work out. And he's like, I didn't really know it was for anxiety and stress. I don't have that, but it's great for exercise for people that are stressing their muscles.
Well, I was just gonna say there's different types of stresses. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. You said put a patch on. I know that I have recommended the Nirvana patch to several women, and they're like getting back in touch with me literally within 10 minutes or 15 minutes saying, oh my gosh, I'm so much calmer.
Let's talk about this. So the Nirvana patch, we know we have our X39, our stem cell activation patch, which you can see from clinical studies what this does. And this does this over time, right? You can see changes in the brain as far as coherence and reduction of the anxiety and things like that in as little as 3 weeks. Sometimes it's faster, but the clinical studies show around that 3 to 6 week mark. We can see changes from looking at the EEGs, looking at the brain, the scans, which is super amazing, right? But Nirvana is something that works right away. And it does that because this increases beta endorphins. Beta endorphins are your happy, feel good, blissful chemicals in your brain, in your body, right? And so beta endorphins are increased from Nirvana. This balances and increases and elevates your neurotransmitters and your neurohormones in the brain. And so this is directly related to the brain. So this is a patch, we call it our bliss patch, you can put on, and usually in about 15 minutes, you're going to feel a difference. So if you have a supplement, if you have some things like that, absolutely use them. But if you put this patch on, you can put this on and know that beta endorphin increase is going to happen right away. I've had people tell me in minutes they could feel like, what is going on with this patch? Something just happened to me and I don't know what, but people start to feel that calm, relaxed state right away. Okay, that happy, feel good state.
Stacey, when we're calm, relaxed, what does that do for our cortisol?
Well, then that starts to go down, right? So your cortisol is up because you're stressed. You're in the fight or flight mode. And I want to mention this patch, Gloria, because this is another patch that you can put on, and right away, Eon brings your body into that parasympathetic state, which is the calm, rest, relax, digest state. So you either fight or flight, go, 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 stress, 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 or you're calm and relaxed. So these two work very differently. This signals a peptide in the liver. This is totally different in how it works with increasing the beta endorphins. And so using these, you can use them both together. We call this the happy patch, this the bliss patch. And so you can use them to help bring your body into a calm, relaxed state, very focused and clear state. Of course, we're using this every day, no matter what, right? But these two are more of your immediate feeling. We know we can feel a difference in Eon with pain because it reduces inflammation, right? And a lot of times their anxiety compiles because of the pain they have in their body, right? You're in pain, you wake up in pain, you didn't get a good night's sleep, and then the dog took off and you can't find the dog and you're late for work, and then you run a whatever and you got a ticket, or who knows, right? The morning can start off crazy, and then you get to work and your boss is like, blah, blah. We don't have any of that in our worlds, but that's kind of like a typical world, right? And so these two can help you get your morning started off right away. Get up in the morning, put the patch on. You can shower with the patches on, and you wear them 12 hours, and then you take them off and you throw them away. If you're someone that the anxiety just continues to go, you can always use Eon during the day, Nirvana at night, or vice versa. You don't have to use them together. You can use one day and one night. I've got a lot of people that are stressed at their job. They'll use their Eon and X39 during the day. They'll come home and put a Nirvana on at night. Be like, woo, now I'm going to enjoy my evening. But again, going back to your self-care practices, right? A patch is a tool, like a supplement is a tool. The food is a tool. Okay, those are tools to help you to bring your body into balance, but you have to make yourself a priority. Okay, there's one more patch I want to mention, Gloria, and this is a longer term patch as well too, but it's carnosine. Carnosine is an antioxidant that your body makes, and that diminishes as we age. But carnosine, it loves to hang out in the muscles and the heart, right? So we typically hear it for athletes and things like that. But carnosine also loves to hang out in the brain. It balances the left brain, right brain hemisphere. We can see that in our studies. It improves cognition and communication and all of your executive functions. So this is a really important nutrient. You could take carnosine as a supplement, but it typically gets eaten up in your stomach because of the stomach acid pretty quickly. So this just elevates your own carnosine level. Daytime or nighttime, whichever works for you. It's not an immediate feel different patch, but we know over time that we can see that improvement in the left brain, right brain hemisphere, which again, then brings the brain into balance. Bringing the body into balance is what this technology is all about. So using these tools to support yourself is going to be very important.
Okay, well, Dr. Stacy, you've been very thorough. Everybody's watching you. They don't even have questions because you're very good at explaining things. And I want to thank you for taking the time today to educate us on nutrition, on stress relieving, techniques, and always mentioning to the LifeWave stem cell patches, how we can use them to keep our bodies in a state of balance. Last week we talked about the lymphatic system. I just want to do a quick update on that. So because my cortisol levels, have been high in my life, one of the things that began to happen was bloating. And it was challenging to get rid of that bloating. And by doing that lymphatic protocol, even though it's taking a little slower for me, I am seeing changes and differences, including inflammation going down, including more energy, sleeping better, all these things which help with stress relief and anxiety. Absolutely. So, you're utilizing the Eon patch with that, the X39, the SP6, and the glutathione, obviously. So is there anything that we can tie in for our audience where doing something like that to clean out the lymphatics is also going to help balance us in a way that might improve other things for our body, including the cortisol levels and other things that are happening? What can we tie in there? Anything?
Sorry. Hang on one second.
That's okay. You got your doggy. Mine's barking here too. So for those of you that have been watching, thanks again. If you have questions, you could always post it down below. And here she comes back with her little doggy. We have a similar doggy.
Yes, we do, right? So to tie it back in together, I would definitely look at using the patches in conjunction with a healthy lifestyle, meaning healthy food choices and exercise. Your lymphatic system is your drainage system. If it is clogged up, if it is stuck, right? If it's not turning over, then you feel sluggish, you feel tired, you have brain fog. That definitely contributes to anxiety. So we want to get that lymphatic system moving. And that's why that protocol is so important, to help you to eliminate some of those toxins, right? That toxic load causes a lot of stress on the body, and physical stress in the body causes mental and emotional stress. We know that. Or let's just say this: mental and emotional stress causes physical stress, right?
Yeah.
We know those emotions are definitely at the root. So
And everything works together, everything, right? We were created that way.
It does. So support that lymphatic system, get those toxins out of your body, go for a walk. Everywhere in the country now, it's warm, right? I mean, down here in Florida, we're roasting, but everywhere else, it's just springtime, and so everybody's getting outside. So get outside, go for a walk, do something, a bike ride, even if it's not, go lay out in the grass for an hour, right? And just be there, present, and connect to nature. 10 minutes, an hour would be fantastic. But man, if you lay in the grass for an hour, like, the earth could possibly suck you in. It's just so powerful what it does to literally reset your entire body. I know, because I've done it before.
Yeah. I used to do that a lot when I was in a situation where there weren't chemicals on the grass where I am currently.
Yeah.
But put your feet in the sand, right? And wake up, to see a sunrise, or if you're not a sunrise person, watch the sunset. All these things in life are part of what creates that balance for us. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us today in the Science for Health Balance. Thank you, Stacy, for coming on every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern to educate our community out there. And all of you, they're saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Love how the protocol works on the gut, which affects mood and anxiety. Yes. And here's the one last thing I'm going to say. If you're doing that protocol for the lymphatic system on your stomach, on your tummy, please increase your water. Do not tell me I drink plenty of water. Increase it, because what I have seen, I am starting day 8 today. Okay, I have had to literally probably amp my water intake up about 30% because of everything that is happening in there. And one morning I woke up actually dehydrated. I could feel it, So don't think you're ever drinking enough water, especially when you're using these patches, right?
Yes. Well, thank you, Gloria. Thank you all. And we'll plan on seeing you next Monday.
Bye.